Today's inspection day, and we just put a great piece of property in escrow. And one of the most common questions we get from home buyers, especially first-time home buyers, is when we go to this inspection, what should I be looking for in the home? What should I ask the home inspector? What are you going to be looking for in the home? So we're going to ask Christopher, who's been in real estate for 35 years, as well as Jerry, our home inspector we use for most of our home inspections, about what do they look for. So Christopher, after 35 years in real estate, what do you look for? What do you ask the home inspector when you go into a home inspection?
Really, I sit down with Jerry and, he kind of does his thing and goes through there. But really when I'm going through there and looking at the property, I'm looking for anything that kind of stands out to me. Obviously, I've renovated a number of properties throughout the year, so there are things that kind of pop out to me. So really, I look at a number of things when I go to the home, but really it comes down to, at the end, I'm reviewing some of the things that I've looked at the property, as well as what the home inspector has come up with. And we do kind of a wrap up at the end. He tells me some of the things that he's going to put in his report, some things that need to be addressed. Obviously, we want to look at the major components of the home because those are the things that have been costly for a new homeowner. And as far as specifics, they're kind of dictated by each individual property. There are some things like, well, a property may have skylights, and you might say, hey, we want to make sure that those skylights look okay, because if it's in an association type property, they may not be covered by the association. They may be the individual homeowner's responsibility, as opposed to being part of the common area, since if it's a condo. So there's a lot of things that are dictated by the property, but really major components. That's really what we're looking for. We don't want any client to be zapped by something, a costly repair that we could have seen beforehand. And that's basically what we do in an inspection.
That totally makes sense. And now one thing that we always get asked, have you ever had a home inspection where the home was perfect, even on a new construction?
You know what? I can say that I have never had an inspection where they haven't found something on a property. And it's a good point that you asked about new construction, because most people would think new construction, what could possibly be wrong? Well, you have to remember that in new construction, they typically have a customer service trailer on site for about a year.
Mm-hmm.
And they're continually going to these homes and making corrections and whatnot to the property that flaws or things that didn't get handled properly during the construction period. So in a long answer, no, I've never had a inspection that has been completely clear with nothing to address.
So there's never been a perfect home per se. It may be a perfect home for your dreams, but there's never been a perfect home in an inspector's eyes on paper.
Correct. And I mean, you can find homes where there's things that come up on it, but they're just very, very minor type items. So, whether these are things that you actually address with a seller on doing your home inspection, there's certain things that you buy a home, there's certain wearability that a home's going to have, and it may be okay for you to live in that home. It might be something that you want to change out later, but I wouldn't say that you're going to address everything that comes up on an inspection. Some of these things are just kind of an FYI in the report, things that you need to know about, useful life of a roof. Something like that, might have, 10 years estimated worth of roof useful life. And, you're not going to ask the seller to come on and just, replace the roof if it's got something that is of issue at that particular moment, where, you could be susceptible to water damage or things of that nature. And you want to have those kind of things addressed. But yeah, those are typically the type of things that you're addressed, or just the bigger items, things that, are more, could lead to a more costly issue if not addressed, quickly.
That totally makes sense. So after 35 years in real estate, those are the main things he looks for, some experiences he's had. But now we're going to head inside to the property and talk to Jerry about what does he look for as a home inspector when he inspects a home.
Jerry, appreciate you coming out here again, doing another inspection for us. You do a great job. What are the 5 things that you would recommend to homeowners that, or at least are your 5 go-to things to check on when inspecting a property?
Yeah, good question. So we always have to start with a good roof. So that's the first thing we look at. Got to have good condition. We want to try to estimate remaining life, how many years is left. And when it rains, we don't want any water coming in. So that's actually important. Plumbing is another big one. So we got to make sure we have hot water, cold water. We got to have good drainage. Dirty water's got to have a way to get out, and it's got to flow right. And then another big part of the plumbing is our water heater. So that's a key component of the plumbing system. Electrical is another big one. So electrical, we want the electrical panel to be in good condition. And we go around and check all the outlets and the rings, lights, light switches. We want to make sure that's all operational and safe. Right now, in this time of year, we want to make sure the AC is working.
Absolutely.
We got to have cold air, in Southern California. So AC's got to be in good condition. We want to check the age on that too. We want to make sure that's not up against the end of its life. And so we want to be nice and cool in our homes. And I think lastly would be probably the structure of the house. So we want to pop into the attic spaces and check the rafters, the insulation that's up there, the roof sheathing, and then down below, we got to look at the concrete slabs, the crawl spaces, and make sure our house has got strong bones.
Well, there you got it. Jerry with Inspection Industries. I mean, the 5 go-to things that he looks for when inspecting a property. Thanks, Jerry. Appreciate you coming out today.
My pleasure.
Thanks for joining us on our inspection day video. If you have any questions about anything said in this video, maybe not said, feel free to drop a comment below. If you know anyone who could benefit from this information, feel free to share it. Until next time, thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next video.